We are getting you ready for your day ahead by bringing you the latest information you need to know about the coronavirus.
Yes, and we begin with dine-in seating resuming today across restaurants in South Carolina. This is what we've learned. It's a huge step, and it's something we know many of you have been waiting for. Restaurants that choose to reopen will have to keep their tables and their chairs 6 to 8 feet apart. They'll also only be able to operate at 50% capacity. Reporter Gina Esposito is live for us in Fort Mill. She will have an update for us and a more in-depth look at those changes in just a moment.
Also starting today, Atrium Health offering antibody testing to businesses who want to know if their employees have had the virus. The test will tell whether the person developed antibodies to the virus. A positive result means they had it, they got over it, they're no longer contagious. We're going to have more on the advantages to local testing here in just a moment. And starting today, daycares across North Carolina, they can start re-enrolling some children. This is part of phase 1 of Governor Cooper's plan. Now, those daycares won't be open for everyone just yet. Parents need to meet certain criteria and requirements to be eligible.
And Eyewitness News reporter Anthony Castora is live for us in East Charlotte with more on who is eligible to take part right now. Anthony?
Well, we just lost Anthony, but he's over at the Smart Kids Child Development Center that's on East W.T. Harris, and they've stayed open to care for children of essential workers. But starting today, parents going to work or look for work and begin re-enrolling their children. Those facilities need to follow strict guidelines from the health department, including sanitizing heavily used areas like playgrounds. The drop-off experience might look a little different. Many child care centers are limiting the number of people inside the building to wait outside for their kids. The state is requiring health screenings for kids and employees, something Smart Kids is already doing.
Before they even come into the building, even our employees go through a health screening. So we take temperatures, we ask a health questionnaire that they have to all kind of pass before they come in.
And again, under phase 1, the state says that children of anyone who's back at work or looking for work, they're the ones who can re-enroll. It also extends to people receiving welfare services or who are homeless. The health department is also asking child care staff to check for signs of sickness periodically throughout the day.
And Atrium Health is offering a way for businesses to know which employees are better protected against COVID-19. This week, the hospital will start administering antibody test. The test will tell if someone had the virus, got over it, and is no longer infectious. And Atrium is using its own lab. That means a quick turnaround, less than 24 hours for results. Now, that kind of information would go a long way to tell businesses which employees are probably immune. Atrium says most of Charlotte's major businesses are interested.
For employers, the cost will be paid by the employer who is requesting these tests. And the cost of that really depends upon the size of the company.
And now the test, it is not for the general public, but if someone suspects that they had COVID-19, then they will be given a test. And Novant is also offering COVID-19 antibody tests at 17 of its Charlotte Urgent Care and Go Health locations. Go Health says the accuracy is 90% or better, and it takes 1 to 3 days for results. Now, anyone can get tested. That's unless you have recently tested positive for COVID-19, been in contact with someone infected with the virus, shown symptoms, or had a fever over 100.5. All right, now starting today, that's big change here. Yeah. You can now eat inside of restaurants in South Carolina.
Yeah, and while it will be up to individual businesses if they want to reopen or not, those who do will have to make some changes. So let's bring in Eyewitness News reporter Gina Esposito live in Fort Mill with a look at all the requirements today. Gina?
Yeah, this all comes more than a week after Governor Henry McMaster said that restaurants could resume outdoor dining. Take a look at this in the Kingsley Shopping Center and Fort Mill. Plenty of tables and chairs outside. But starting today, customers can eat that meal inside. Now, the state and South Carolina's Restaurant and Lodging Association set up guidelines for restaurants that plan to reopen their indoor dining today. Restaurants can only be at 50% capacity. Tables and chairs should be 6 to 8 feet apart. There needs to be additional cleaning and sanitizing and health checks for employees. A social distancing guidance should be in place for employees and customers. A restaurant owner tells us they've been gearing up for the changes.
We took last Sunday, actually, and we rented a giant U-Haul truck and pulled out half of our furniture out of all of our restaurants last Sunday and put it into storage.
I'm glad we're taking the steps forward for people to start opening back up, especially for these small businesses.
A representative for the Restaurant and Lodging Association says the restaurants that opened at 25% capacity were losing business, and that's why the guidance is at 50% capacity. Now, this shopping center here in Fort Mill, not only home to restaurants, but also gyms, nail and hair salons like the one here behind me that have been shut down for weeks. Coming up in 30 minutes, the announcement the governor expected to make today about those businesses and when they are expected to open. Back to you.
Well, we'll see what people do if they're going to take advantage of being able to go out to eat again. Gene Esposito live for us this morning. In North Carolina, restaurants will not be able to serve customers indoors until phase 2. The earliest that could happen would be May 22nd. In phase 2, the actual state home order is lifted, allowing restaurants to open dining rooms up at limited capacity, and the same goes for gyms and salons, entertainment venues, places of worship. Phase 3 won't come until at least 4 to 6 weeks after that, and when even more people will be allowed inside of restaurants and other businesses.
And there are some encouraging signs coming out of North and South Carolina. South Carolina only reported 113 new cases, and the percent of tests that came back was below 4%. Now, there was also only 1 new death reported. And in North Carolina, the number of people in the hospital has dropped significantly from 513 Saturday to 442. There were 3 additional deaths reported, bringing the total to 547. And the percent of tests that came back positive stayed flat at 9%.
Well, new steps are being taken in the White House after 2 aides tested positive for the virus. Sources tell ABC News we may see more masks being worn in the West Wing, but that is not a requirement. Aides will have to maintain the 6-foot social distance during meetings. They'll also get tested daily. And we have some sad breaking news this morning out of Hollywood. Comedy veteran Jerry Stiller has died. Stiller had a movie and television career that spanned decades. Iconic roles like Frank Costanza on Seinfeld. And Stiller's son, actor and comedian Ben Stiller, announced his father's passing in a tweet just this morning. He says that his father died of natural causes at the age of 92.
Well, we know just how difficult it can be to feed yourself and your family during this time. So many layoffs, so many people out of work during the pandemic. And that's why events like this are so important. Today, the Dorothy Day Soup Kitchen will be offering grab-and-go lunch boxes for anyone who needs them. The lunches are being served from 11:30 to 12:30 at the location on Crawford Road in Rock Hill. And if you would like to donate to the Soup Kitchen, they need items like lunch meat, cheese and chips, along with paper plates and silverware.